what is going on? We're about to kick this off in about a minute. While we just rock out. Howdy. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Tanker Andy in the house. What's it going on, James? No Code Tech. Howdy, howdy. Lionel, man. I used to have a train set. Actually, I still do. I need to set it up. It's in the guest room. Alright, let's kick this off. Thank you to all my Patreon supporters. You can support me on Patreon. There is a link in the description below. And to all my tankers out there, go forth and conquer. What is going on? I'm Tank Radio, K6ARK, and how y'all doing out there? Wow, oh wow, oh wow, man, I am red, and it wasn't from field day. I did some search related activities all day today, and I'm back for in time for all this, so woohoo! How is going on, everyone? I gotta calm down. I am going to bring Shane on because I just need someone to, keep me in check. Where is he? Where is he? We're bringing everyone on. There it is. Transition. What is up? We got Shane and Adam. Howdy. A seizure? It's all the energy I'm injecting into my programs. Yes. Yay! Woohoo! Yes, solar energy. Well, we just had the yearly, no, I don't really want it yearly, but the Texas snowstorm apocalypse that just happened, and we didn't lose power. Shane, how did you fare? We did great. Mm-hmm. 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 Yes. Mm-hmm. 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 Well, I knew Texas was closed on Thursday. That was the first big snow day, right? Thursday, I think it was. I went to the liquor store and they were closed. I thought I unmuted y'all. Yep, you're unmuted now.
Thanks, Frank.
Yes, yes. Well, I through all the things I'm planning, like the transition, so I mute myself, I mute y'all, I unmute the audio. We got buy me a coffee going in the background. Make sure that audio.
Hopefully,
going.
Adam won't forget to unmute himself.
Yes, yes.
I'm on it.
Okay.
But
well, you missed all that. Hopefully, you're good at reading lips.
Yes, yes.
All right, so I'm going to give you the abridged version. It iced a lot, it snowed a little bit, and then I was able to drive to work and not get in a wreck. And so that's about the gist of it.
Yeah. I
Jeez.
did some driving around. I did have my battery. This is the reason why I bring it up. My battery backup system's been plugged in downstairs the whole time. Did not need a recharge once, so my math was
Nice.
so way off at the beginning. Um, and I have the solar cell sitting out by my back door if I needed to go charge it, but I never did. And man, I just been just rocking out, man. We haven't lost power or anything, so that's been pretty cool.
That's good.
So, as long as also since I do have to buy me a coffee, and that does help support the channel, we're gonna go over to amateur radio or Grapevine amateur radio because Jason used to sell radios at one time, and I knew him for that.
You should go check out some of Jason's really old videos where
Yes,
instead of actually putting titles on the video, he writes it on paper and just holds it up in front of the camera. Yeah, you should
it's
go check that
hilarious.
out.
That's awesome.
So we got some merch from all the YouTubers around here. We got his Ham 2.0, but everyone buys Ham 2.0. Let's just keep scrolling up. We got Adam. Adam has a shirt over here.
There you go.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
look
good
at
stuff
that
right
guy.
there. Adds at least 9 dB. It's more than the K8MRD shirt.
And it's super
Ooh,
incognito.
yes,
Yeah.
it is. We have the K8MRD shirt, and then we have the special Tank Radio shirt. What?
Very cool.
Go over there and order it. Especially, well, we probably won't get in time for Orlando, but I'll have stickers. If you have a Tank Radio at Orlando shirt, I'll give you a sticker. If you come up to me and go Tank Radio, I'll go ahead and also give you a sticker because I love that. And I have a time slot at the booth. You're gonna hear more about that in the next stream on Jason's stream. If we keep scrolling up, is there anything new here? Do we see anything new? I don't know what's new there.
What's that green thing over there to the
That
left,
green
Frank?
thing? I don't
Yeah.
know. Let's go ahead and look at that. Wait, Tank Radio has challenge coins?
So
What?
so Frank, take just a second and explain to people what a challenge coin is.
Challenge coins. They really started in the Army and Navy and just the military in general, but they were printed out and given out for tokens of gratification or to say, "Hey, man, you did a good job, and here's a challenge coin."
Achievements.
Achievements, yes.
Yeah.
And it turned into more or less a drinking game. So, if you go to the bar with a bunch of your friends and they wrap on the table challenge coins and you don't have one, you buy the first round. Or
Oh.
if everyone had a challenge coin, the one with the lowest ranking challenge coin buys.
Oh, so you're saying that if I get something from like a private and you have a coin from a staff sergeant, then your coin outranks my coin?
Yep.
Is that what you're saying?
Yep, and you buy
Okay.
the rounds. And if you get a high enough coin, you never have to buy any beer again. But
Nice.
that being said, I think the Tank Radio coin outranks
Trumps them
everything.
all.
We are just doing pre-orders right now. They did come in. I can go ahead and show. Wait, that's the wrong camera. Boom, right here. These the coins I have. I got 2 of them. It's just taking pictures for the website. But man, these are pretty hefty. Look how big they are.
Nice.
Yes.
I like the detail on them, man. That
Thank
turned
you,
out really
man.
good.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It's
they look great.
just my badge there and or patch there, and on the back is just celebrating 1 year on YouTube.
Very cool, man.
They are a little blurred, but there's a little couple of things in there which I really like, and I'm glad we got them in there. I did like 5 proofs. 5 proofs.
So James says that if the challenger has to pay if everyone else has a coin.
Oh, I didn't know that rule.
I didn't either.
Wow.
Hmm.
But that's the new merch I have. So this is my little love back to you, man. It took a labor of love to make this coin and quite a bit of dough too to pony up for them to all have to be minted. But it took about 2-3 months to get all this through in. So I am excited. These are on pre-order.
That's awesome, man.
And expecting to ship probably after Orlando, a week or 2 after Orlando. But I can't wait to get these in y'all's hands. What is up, Joe Brett? Welcome to the chat. So,
We got a big crew in there. We got Lon in there, Wild Cascadia Radio. We got a good group in there.
yes, yes. Sweet. So, Adam man, you've been making waves with like a new antenna or something?
All the rage of YouTube.
Yeah, what's going on, man? What have you been up to?
I've been busy building a lot of antenna kits. So,
That is an
um,
understatement.
yeah, they've been very popular, as you can probably guess, more popular than I ever expected. It's an end-fed half-wave or end-fed random wire antenna matching unit kit that I sell on Amazon. You can find it in the links that Frank's got, I assume, in the video description there, and or we'll get them posted in the chat as well. They're a pretty simple build, some small parts, so you need to do some fine soldering and then just add some wire and a winder, and you've got an awesome QRP antenna for portable operations.
Oh, sweet.
What's the max that these can go up to
So I generally
before the smoke
recommend,
comes out?
yeah, exactly. I generally recommend 5 watts on real heavy duty cycle modes like FT8 or heavy duty cycle CW, and then 10 watts of sideband.
Okay.
That I know they can handle. I'm working on some additional kits that will have an extra toroid. This is how you wind that kit, and it'll handle as a 9-to-1 unun up to about 30-35 watts. So it's kind of perfect for a G90. And the difference in that kit is that it's got an extra toroid, the FT82-43, a bit more magnet wire, and a bigger piece of heat shrink to cover the whole thing up when you're done.
Could you stack those and get like 50 watts out of it?
You probably could. I haven't tried stacking them in that way. Or you could, potentially go with a different or larger toroid as well. So yeah.
That's pretty cool. So what gave you like the inspiration or the idea to make these in the first place starting out?
Yeah, good question. So when I started out doing HF operating, I bought an FT817 and was using that for portable ops. And I was trying to find a nice small compact antenna, and I came across it was sold by LNR Precision at the time, the end-feds trail-friendly antenna. And those things were about $80, $90, and they had this nice little matching unit and a pretty small plastic injection molded case. And I thought, man, there's no way I could ever build an antenna better than that. So I bought that antenna and I used it for a long time. And as I kind of tinkered more and learned more about building and designing antennas, I realized that maybe I can actually make a better version of this. So, man, this is stuck in here. Grab another BNC connector. Stand by one.
So, what are you working on the bench right now?
Yeah, so I've got a number of things. I've got some antenna winders and wire that I'm printing more of to start selling to go with these antenna kits, because it's kind of the rest of the stuff you need to finish off the antenna. And then I've got these little Morse code paddles, 3D printed Morse code paddles that work a lot like the old Pico paddle that was discontinued, but a 3D printed version. So these will also be on the market soon.
That's pretty cool. So back to your story. I didn't mean to interrupt you. So
yeah, no worries.
I was just interested. I saw you fiddling something. So ADD.
Yeah, I was tinkering with different antennas or connectors, BNC connectors, and I had actually, let me just swap over to an overhead view, and there we go.
Producing for me. I like this.
Yeah. So I had these BNC connectors for RG 174 or 316 coax, and they're crimp and solder connectors. And I had these FT50-43 toroids, and I thought, well, shoot, that like fits right on that little BNC really well. I wonder if I could make that the matching unit. So that was kind of the start of it all. And you may have seen the older videos where I actually built the matching unit onto this type of BNC connector, and it was actually quite difficult to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so at some point, I got an email from a friend, Matt N7MCB, and he said, "Hey, I came up with this idea to use a little PCB, a custom PCB, to make this build a little bit easier with these other BNC connectors." So he sent me a picture of it, and I said, "Hey, do you mind if I run with this and kind of grow it and expand it?" So I added some strain relief holes. I set it up so it could be used with a 9-to-1 unun as well, and just kind of ran with the idea, and that is how it ended up where it is today with that matching unit kit.
That's pretty cool. And
Yeah.
um, I am going to go ahead and say I said this several times. Woo, here is my reduced kit for POTA. I
That's reduced.
That is reduced. I actually just filmed this video and like last week, and produced it. And today I went out for a search, so I'm glad I removed all the POTA stuff. Oh wait, it's in this pocket. I haven't really used this yet, but I have an Atom antenna right here. What? And like you were saying, the Unun right there,
Mhm.
it's almost like a spark plug. I've been using this every POTA activation I have, and this has been amazing. The only thing I added, I'm gonna put it over here so we can see it a little bit better. Switching cameras on the fly. Yoink. Um, the only thing's different is I added the flagging tape because I got tired of people trying to they see the one end of the antenna but they don't see the other, and they go
Mhm.
through doing like the spider web where is it thing. So I just added some flagging tape to it, but that's the only change I've done. And thing's worked amazing. um, but this one is still a beta. It's not on your site yet.
Correct. Yeah.
Uh-huh,
So
uh-huh.
so that matching unit is kind of an enhanced version, where you take the contents of the original kit, you add a little bit more magnet wire, a little longer piece of magnet wire,
Mm-hmm.
an FT82-43 toroid, which happens to the FT50-43 that is in the kit nests right in the center of it. You wind them together as a single, pretend they're a single toroid, and wind them
Mm-hmm.
together, and it can handle about 30 to 35 watts. I've run 30 watts FT8 on it for
Ooh.
an extended amount of time,
Mm-hmm.
and didn't have any issues. So
I haven't had any
the
issues. I've been running
yeah,
20 watts through it the whole time with my
yep,
G90,
yeah,
and not FT8 yet. I'm still working on getting that up and going, but I do
cool.
plan on running FT8. But I've been
Hmm.
on 40, 20, 80, and I know it's resident on a couple other bands. And one of my videos, I am using the it is right here, the Rig Expert Antennalyzer, and I did a whole band sweep on it. And I was fairly impressed, man. Everything was in tolerance for the G90 to use. So all the
You
bands
Yeah.
I
should be able
wanted
to
to get
get
on.
15 and 10 out of that too.
Yeah. Well,
No, no. Actually, that one will tune. So that's a random wire. It's
mm-hmm.
not an
Oh,
end-fed half wave.
okay,
It's
cool.
a 9-to-1 with a random wire. And one of the key things to understand with a random wire is that it's not actually random. It's a purposefully non-resonant wire length.
On any of them, on any band.
On Yeah,
Yeah.
and when you're non-resonant on every band, you have okay, not terrible SWR on every band, which means it's tunable on pretty much every band. The drawback to like an end-fed half wave, or particularly a dipole is resonant on every odd multiple, right? So the
Hmm.
first harmonic, the third, the fifth, and so a 40-meter dipole has extremely high impedance on 20 meters, and it's not even going to really be tunable. So with the random wire, you don't get perfect SWR really on any bands unless you just kind of happen to find that sweet spot and get lucky. But what you do have is low SWR, 10 to 1 or less on pretty much every band. So it makes it tunable.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is
Now we have a question in
shoot.
there. It says from Beef Carver. Any plans to make a trap kit?
I don't think I will. So I never actually designed a PCB for those kits. I just built it out of like perf board. I think I've got a piece laying around here somewhere. Anyway, just proto board, and I just cut it with the Dremel. So perhaps at some point when I knock out a few other projects, I'll get back to some Autodesk Eagle, draw up a PCB and make a trap kit. But I know the where is it? Soda Beams. I think Soda Beams has some, and I want to say KT5X made some as well. And I'll see if I can find a link, but I think Rex KE6MT has them linked on his website. So I'll see if I can find a link
Is
for
it
that.
sodabeamsco.uk?
Yeah,
Yep.
so Soda Beams does have the I want to say they do have a trap kit. I'd have to double check on that, and then I think it's Soda Beams, and then let me see if I can find these ones from Rex as well. But yeah, the others have done the same thing, and maybe not identically, but they're good and they work.
And what's the difference between a trap kit and what you're kind of doing?
Yeah, so the matching unit is kind of just the starting point of the antenna, right? That's your feed point. And for a resonant antenna, say an end-fed half-wave, or you can also build this as a 1-to-1 for the center of a dipole and use traps to make a multi-band dipole. The end-fed half-wave is going to be resonant on roughly every even and odd multiple. So if you make a 40-meter end-fed half-wave, it's going to be resonant on 20, 15, and 10. But you have radio. Yeah, QRP guys have traps. Thanks, Skeeter. They're not quite the same design, but they are pretty compact and they do work. So the end-fed half-wave is resonant on every even and odd multiple, 20, 15, so 40, 20, 15, and 10. What if you want 17 meters, or let's say you've got an MTR3B that's a 20, 30, and 40 meter radio? 30 meters is not a multiple. So if you want to be able to have an end-fed half-wave that you just set up and forget about it and operate on whatever band you tune to, you'll need a couple of traps. And a trap is just a resonant LC circuit, an inductor and a capacitor in parallel. And they're resonant on a certain frequency, and they act as sort of a roadblock for RF, a high impedance point at that point in the wire on that specific frequency. So what you do is you if you wanted a 20, 30, 40 antenna, you'd build your matching unit. You'd string out 10 meters of wire, tune it for 20 meters, and then you'd add a trap that's tuned for 14 megahertz, kind of the bottom end of the 20 meter band. And that will act as a roadblock to RF beyond that. Then you add some more wire and tune for 30 meters. And then once you're tuned for 30 meters, it should not affect 20 meters because you've got that trap in place. Then you can put another trap in, a 30-meter trap for 10.1 megahertz or so, and then extend the wire a bit further until it's resonant on 40 meters.
I kind
And
of
at
like
that
this.
point,
Interesting.
yeah. So pros and cons to it. You've got extra things in your antenna that can break or fail. You got more junctions in there. You've got, a capacitor and an inductor that may be somewhat fragile if you don't protect them well enough. And then those traps, the inductors in them act as kind of mini loading coils on the lower bands for the RF that goes through them. So, whenever you have a loading coil in an antenna, it has an advantage and a disadvantage. It physically shortens your antenna a little bit, but it also decreases your bandwidth on those lower bands that are using it as a loading coil. So there's also potentially a little bit of efficiency loss, although if you build your traps right, it's relatively insignificant and doesn't make all that much of a difference.
Interesting. Learn something new every day.
So
This is why we come to Tank Radio.
yeah. So I'm getting interested in building a fan dipole.
Hmm.
And I was going to do a 40 and a 20 ends on them because with those two pairs, they're also resident on 10 and 15, I think.
Right. Yep.
So should I just build a 40-meter single dipole on 40 meters and use the 20-meter traps, or will that throw off the resonance?
So if you add traps for 20 meters, it'll throw off your 15-meter resonance. For example, also on the end fed half wave example,
Mhm.
if you built a 40-meter end fed half wave and put a trap for 30 meters, you don't still get 20 and 15. It screws up those resonant multiples. So
Mhm. Okay.
yeah.
So I'd probably just stick with the fan then.
Yeah, the fan's probably a good option. Another kind of similar option would be an off-center fed dipole, but that's going to generate a bit more common mode current and
Mhm.
potentially pick up a bit more noise since it's not a balanced antenna. So yeah, I think your idea is solid. I think
Yeah.
it'll work well.
Because you're also the antenna man, or one of the
I
main,
do like
main antenna
This is
people.
true.
And I am still learning a lot about antenna theory. And there's the one big question I still don't have answered yet, and that's why I haven't done a video. I understand how power gets going to the antenna and why on a resonant dipole antenna is important to match the lengths of the antenna. I still have yet to understand how the electricity or electrons you started sending down radiate the transmission, and
Yeah, good
how it
question.
jumps from, I understand it's making a magnetic field, but I don't. Is that magnetic field really powerful enough to send the signal, or is there something else involved?
I'm a mechanical engineer. I don't understand this stuff, but what
It's magic.
one thing it is magic. One thing I do understand, and maybe a good sort of parallel way to describe it, is that an antenna is a transducer. So a transducer takes one form of energy and turns it into something else. A speaker is also a transducer. It takes electrical energy, AC for that matter, and turns it into sound waves, to
Mhm.
pressure waves in the atmosphere.
Well,
So
that does it with
um,
magnets and moving a cone-like object to physically
right,
move the air to create the sound.
yeah. So somehow, magic, I assume, that piece of wire takes those electrons and takes that energy and emits them as electromagnetic waves.
Hmm.
So how exactly that works, way over me.
Physics, my friend. Physics.
I'm not gonna admit it took me two, maybe three tries to pass physics one.
We do need to say thank you for Skeeter. Skeeter had the 5 beers in there.
Oh, thank you, Skeeter. I missed that. Thank you very much. I do appreciate
There was another
that.
one in there I think we missed as well, but Skeeter was the one I saw pop up.
I
Nice.
can double check that. While I do, thank you both for joining me. We do have a 2-minute timer counting down. It's going to kick us out. Please rejoin. I haven't upgraded to Pro yet, and sorry. But do please rejoin, and we'll continue on. I am enjoying the conversation so much, and we had also Lance Hopper with a 10 beer donation. Thank you very much, and I appreciate that. Really, I do. I think the last of the end live stream that we did, we had a late donation also by November 4 Victor Kilo Foxtrot. So thank you very much. 2 weeks ago, I do appreciate that. I do see those, and every dime. Um, but what do you want to like give us any other hints, or what do you else got going on there, Adam? Are you joining us for the up and coming Florida festivities?
No, unfortunately, I'm not going to
Hamcation.
make it to Florida.
Mm,
Not going to make it to Hamcation. The biggest things right now are trying to keep up with keeping kits in stock for on Amazon, and also I want to get these winders and wire out to people. They're pretty cool. Let's see. I'll flip to the overhead view here. These I designed these winders with they're 3D printed in PETG, so they're pretty durable. Can handle a bit more temperature than your average PLA. And these ones have a nice little BNC clip, so you can secure your matching unit there. You wind your wire, and then when you're done, you pop that BNC back out. There's a little groove in the bottom where the end of your wire or your cord fits in there, and you snap the BNC back in to secure it, so you don't need a Velcro strap or anything.
Wasn't
So
that
oh,
fancy?
that's awesome.
yeah,
I,
pretty
I'm about to
focus.
lose y'all, but please rejoin. And
Yep.
We'll come back.
dude, that I really want that. I really want that. There they go. Please rejoin. I haven't upgraded to pro yet. The session is up and they are back. While we're waiting for them to rejoin, I do have that buy me a coffee link. And thank you for everyone that is utilizing that. I do appreciate every dime that goes in there. Helps me produce everything I do and also bring you more content. And let's find the trio shot. Boom, we're back. Y'all changed sides. Wait a minute. How did that
And we're back.
happen?
It's called magic. Kind of like how those radio waves come off the antenna. It's magic.
Indeed.
Auto 45. He asked me earlier, why am I so red? I did a search all day today. We started at 8 o'clock in the morning. I didn't leave until 4. And he said I should wear a hat. And my response is,
I
I did.
agree.
I had a booty
And
hat.
sunscreen.
Needed sunscreen. Did not think about sunscreen. It started out
Yeah.
below freezing. And when I left, it
That
was
means
60,
that
no,
this time of year,
55.
man, this time of year, we get more UV light than other times of the year.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I didn't think about it. Adam probably say a couple bits there about trying to search in the winter and forgetting about sunscreen or the you just need sunscreen.
Yeah. So I found I don't have a wrench. I can't post a link in the chat. Wrench me, dude.
Throw it in our back channel and we'll get it
Okay.
out there.
So I found the link to the traps. It's WS0TA, which is also KT5X. He designed these trap PCBs. They're available on OshPark, and they work pretty good. They've got a couple strain relief holes. They've got a capacitor pad to install a capacitor, and then a couple of pads to kind of stick your inductor on there. And then I would suggest going back to my video on building traps and kind of looking at how I tune the traps in there.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I've learned since then is that some types of epoxy do affect the resonance of the trap. So I would recommend looking at alternative options. Hot glue is an option. Heat shrink. Silicone seems to have less of an impact on the resonant frequency for actually tuning the traps. But that video will have the tools you need to figure out what capacitors you need, what toroids you need, and then how to do the whole tuning process.
That's pretty cool. I really want to do an antenna with traps. And it's just kind of fascinates me to have an antenna with the traps on it. But when I was looking at them at one point, the traps that I found online, they weren't that small. That I have the website open right now. Trio, there it is. The traps I saw online for like gigaparts or HRO, they were that big. I was like, what's the point of having a trap that big? And especially if I wanted to make a potapack out of it. So I kind of
Yeah.
gave up on the idea, and that's why I wanted for the house. I started leaning towards a fan dipole, and everyone's been singing the praises of the fan dipoles, except Bob. I can't remember what his quarrel with them was, but he had a 40-minute spiel on why fan dipoles are not the best antenna to use.
You have a fan vertical that you need to build, Frank.
I do have a
Mhm.
fan vertical that Jason
And I'm
and
going to
I
come steal that if you don't build it soon.
we scheduled out 3 times last year. 3 times. This is the back of the show here. 3 times we scheduled to do it, and each time something happened with me or Jason, then we had to kick it back. We got close to building Jason's end-fed antenna twice. Twice. We had cameras on, and Jason was like, "Okay, I can't find my solder." And that kicked it out.
Likely excuse.
It's not me. It's the other guy in the room that the stream's about to come up
Well,
in
you know,
25 minutes.
you could build your own and just say, hey, you know, if you want to borrow mine to model yours after, go right ahead.
We did promise each other we'd build it together, and I still want to do that.
And his has been in the box for how long now? 2 years, 3 years?
How long I have been a ham for? 4 years? I know it. Well, I'm probably about 6 or 7, so it's been half that time that he has this in his house. I only had it about a year now. He has the XD Commander. I have the XD Commander Expedition, and we want to do a side by side build so that we could show really what the differences are. And this is the video that we're coming up with, and that's what we want to do, and we just need to figure out time to do it.
Coming soon in 2026.
Shane, come on now. Come on.
I mean, I can't say anything because I've had this antenna for almost a year and I haven't built it yet. So I can't say anything.
And that was an advanced
Fair
kit you
enough.
got.
It was.
What? It was Huntsville, or was it?
It was Huntsville, yes.
Yeah.
And it has a bright red PCB in there.
So
It does.
I really like that PCB board that you showed me on screen, because this one I do have. It kind of flops around, and let me get my camera back. And it's kind of hard sometimes to put this on here while I'm winding up all the rest of the antennas. I have to hold it like this, and then I wind it up again, and then flop it back down, and then take the extra Velcro strap to run it all around and strap it in. That's
Holy
a
cow.
nitpick. That is a nitpick. Minus that, I love the antenna. I love how long
Yeah,
it
so-
is. It's amazing.
So I think I built yours with I think it's a female BNC on there, and then I
Yes.
used yeah, okay. So you know what you could do, you could just adapt that straight to well, that's on the end of the coax. I meant on the matching unit itself.
Oh, yes. That's hidden under
'cause-
Velcro, but you're right. It is a female end.
Yeah, if you really wanted to, you could just get an adapter and attach that straight to the radio. You don't have to use that little piece of coax.
So I could run this straight to the G90 and not have it affect anything.
You have a little bit higher chance of getting a little bit more RF into your audio and stuff, because your antenna is that much closer, and you don't have that 3 or 5 feet of coax with a choke on it. That helps keep that out. But you can try it and see how it works. If it does all right, and doesn't get RF back into your audio and your radio, then run with it, man.
Okay, you're seeing me workshopping this right now because I'm excited.
Yeah, because that's how I run it on my
end.
Yeah, that's how I run it on the KX2 all the time. Just straight off the.
There is the G90.
Yep.
And I can just take that. I do need the adapter, which I have it in the adapter bag, which is
or
not
even put a 90 degree on there too. I'd maybe do a 90 degree and then SO239 to BNC male and
because that's been your comment to me several times when I sent you pictures. It's like, why is that not plugged right into the radio? Why do you have the additional wire on? I'm like, because I'm also operating right over on your KX2.
Yep, I just stick it straight on there, run the counterpoise out, run the radiating wire up, and it rocks, man.
Adam, do you have banana clips for the radiator and for the counterpoise, so you can just plug them in?
I do on those, yeah, and they're marginally enough. They're enough for this skinny lightweight
Yeah.
wire.
Hmm.
But and it's kind of a pro and a con, right? Because they get yanked out if the pole falls over or something. But occasionally they get pulled out when you don't want them to.
So what
So you
wire?
should put some strain relief in there with an S beaner.
Sure.
I love your wire. What wire is that?
The black wire.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's so flexible and rolls up so nicely that it's amazing. A couple other gauges of wire I bought in the past, it's just
Yeah.
been unruly.
So that is the best antenna wire for portable ops that I think exists. I think it's what Pactena uses, and it's what LNR used to use for the trail friendly antennas. I assume whatever the company is that owns them now uses the same stuff. It's Davis RF Poly Stealth 26 gauge, and
Great stuff.
it's not cheap. If you buy it by the foot, it's 30 cents a foot. I buy it by the 1,000-foot spool, and I go through it. But if you don't want to spend that much, this red wire that I've got on here it's not steel. The Poly Stealth is copper clad steel, so it's super strong, like over 25-pound breaking strength. This stuff is stuff I bought for as sort of a budget wire, and it's a PTFE coated, so it's like a Teflon style coating, very slick and durable, and it's 7-strand copper 26 gauge, so it has about a 6 or 7-pound breaking strength. Totally fine for portable ops. I've been using a 28 gauge version for a number of years on my portable antennas, and I bought a large spool of this 26 gauge stuff to distribute with the winders.
Mhm.
So you'll be able to buy the winder with the wire on it. Basically, over about 72 feet of wire, which is enough and then some for a 40-meter end-fed half-wave, or a random wire, 41-foot random wire, 17-foot counterpoise for $20 with the winder. So that's what I'll have those on.
So I
Very
Adam,
definitely
do you see much of a difference when you run a counterpoise versus not with the that setup?
So you definitely need to counterpoise with the random wire. You got to have that to kind of drive it against and to give the stray RF somewhere to go. I run an end-fed half-wave without a counterpoise quite a lot. But in some more recent experimenting, I've been kind of finding some interesting things. I find it seems like when I use a counterpoise, I get a little bit better resonance on the multiples. I don't necessarily need the my little loading coil that I put in line. So that's a little bit of a consideration. I need to do some more testing and see if that works across all of them. But that seems to be the case. And if you are going to run a counterpoise with an end-fed half-wave, for a 40-meter end-fed half-wave, I'd recommend about 2 meters, about 6 feet or so of counterpoise is about right for that. So
Mine's 20 feet. The MFJ, the one that MFJ that I bought from MFJ, it's 40 through 10, and I've got a 20-foot ground wire that I just stake into the ground, running 90 degrees off of it. And I was like you, I ran it for the longest time without it, but when I started using that, I noticed that I didn't have to use a touch-up tuner that much.
Yeah. So it seems to help a little bit in that respect. It might help a little bit with efficiency. It's a trade-off. Do you want that extra simplicity of not having a little counterpoise trailing around, or does it matter to you? So
Yeah.
The counterpoise itself, it doesn't really matter if it's on the ground or whatnot.
If it's a short counterpoise, it definitely helps if it's on the ground. When you get that coupling to the ground, basically what you want in that counterpoise is a good coupling to ground somehow. So when you don't have a counterpoise on there, you are the counterpoise, and you holding the radio are, I'm usually holding the mountain topper in my hand as I'm operating. So I just turn into the counterpoise. With QRP, it doesn't matter. It's not a problem.
So I'm showing a picture. This is for me operating at the park I like to go to. I'm trying to get my Kilo award there. Will the metal table mess up anything with the antenna for the resonance or anything, or throw anything off?
I'm sorry, I missed that. What was the question?
Okay, I'm showing a picture of where I usually been operating when I go to parks on the air, and I set up
Yeah.
on a metal table.
Hmm.
Will that metal table, if I plug in the antenna like you were showing me right to the radio, throw anything off? Because usually I run a just a feed line out to the where I ran the antenna.
I get it now. Got it. Um, Not necessarily. It should still work fine. One thing I would just make sure is that the radiating wire isn't in contact with or too close to that table for very long. So as long as you've got it just relatively quickly trailing up off into
Mm-hmm.
the ether,
Mm-hmm.
you should be fine with that. I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay. Okay. Because
Yeah.
other than that, every contact I made has been pretty much on your antenna, and it's been working
Cool.
great. I love it. My G90 has a tuner, perfect for a random
Hmm.
wire. And when I swept the antenna, and it was not even. I think the highest it was around 6, and I forgot what band that
Hmm.
was, but it was not on a band I utilized that much. It might have been 160 or something.
There you
Because
go.
I just told it to sweep the entire ham spectrum, and I was just looking through the numbers. But other than
Yeah.
that, it's been a great antenna. I love it.
Cool. Yeah, it's do you usually run it out the full length or do you just partially unwind typically?
I partially unwind. You put me a cheat
Yeah.
little piece of duct tape on there. What
Yep.
was that
That,
for?
so that yeah, that's a mark at a good length for operating basically on 40 meters and up. So it's a random length that avoids, those resonant
Mm-hmm.
points and makes sure you have low SWR on all the higher bands.
Mm-hmm.
The full length of wire, I think, is 85 feet, I think is
Yes.
what I put in there. And, stretching that out all the way will work great, well down into the 80-meter band.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't always have space for that much wire
Mm-hmm.
out. And if you're operating on 40 and up, it doesn't make that much of a difference for
Yeah,
you
I usually
anyway. So,
stop at that little duct tape
cool.
wire,
Yep.
unless that I'm trying to tune up the 80-meter channel or frequency.
Yeah.
I was talking about channels and CB and other things today, but tune up the 80-meter. Then I will go ahead and run it all the way out, and then that really does drop the SWR on 80 meters. And my video, I do show it at that mark, then all the way the way out. But when I run it all the way out, man, it's just like okay, and we're gonna walk another 40 feet that way, and
Yep.
let's go.
Just make an
It's a
inverted
big
V
one.
out of it.
Yeah,
You don't have to
yeah.
walk so far.
I love it.
What's what's the biggest antenna you've set up, Frank, or at least worked with or helped set up?
I helped Jason set up his fan or not fan the hex beam antenna.
Hmm.
And that's been a pretty
Okay.
big antenna because you got to walk around in circles feeding like 4 antenna loops all around it. But that's amazingly light. I got
Yeah.
pictures of Jason holding it up with one hand.
Yeah.
Frank, we need to go set up a 160-meter dipole.
I
Dude,
know. A full wave loop, man.
A
Come
full
on, go
wave
big
or
or
a
go
full
home.
wave loop. There you go.
so my neighbor over there is a old ham. And I told him, like, I kind of want to set up a 160 loop and then do some moon bounces. He goes, yes, we'll put the feed line between the two houses with a waterproof cap. And then whenever you want to run it, we'll just hook into it. I said, oh my God, you're
That's
amazing.
awesome.
So we have 2 properties to run that loop around.
And
There
you
you
can do a
go.
loop on the ground for your receive too
Uh-huh.
You could.
Well,
in your backyard.
that was one idea I wanted to stealthily do, and I'm saying it on the internet, so it's not going to be too stealthy. I want to run a long beverage antenna
Yeah.
because in the back of my house, I have a drainage ditch that no one goes to. So I just run 1,000-foot wire and stake it up about 4 or like 3 feet off the ground and just staple it and just run it all the way down that drainage ditch. I could probably listen to everything if I had
Clothesline
that.
some kids here and there.
Yeah, they'll be fine. They'll be
It's kids,
fine.
man.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
made out of elastic. Come on.
That's true. Well, I've got an 80-meter off center fed dipole set up here at home, so it's
Mhm.
135 feet of wire up in the air. I
Wow.
actually do have room for a 160 meter full wave loop, and I thought about putting one up and just never got around to it. Maybe someday. But I have used a 160 meter end fed half wave on a summit before. Granted,
Whoa.
Wow.
I had a loading coil, so it was only about 165 feet long. So
Only.
electrically shortened
Did you
antenna
just
as
throw
opposed
it
to
off the summit and just let it dangle off the cliff?
no. I had two 31-foot poles holding it up in the air. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it was good fun.
That's cool.
And I made a summit to summit contact with Rex, a KE6MT on 160 meters. So
Oh, that's
Very
cool.
cool.
yeah.
Well, you were doing 2 meter when last time I actually saw you was down doing the California trip and
Yep.
meetup, and we had or you brought a 2 meter sideband Yagi antenna.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah,
it was a
that's
2 meter
the
Yagi antenna, which you were working sideband.
6 element.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I have video of it back when we were posting about that trip, and it was so cool to see you set that up and utilize, and just sitting up at the summit top because it was the best
Frank,
summit we ever did. We drove up to the top.
Frank, you've got a big, what is it, 5 or 6 element Yagi too?
Yeah, I do. I have the Arrow 2 antenna, but that's heavy.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
Oh, please.
Well, heavy to carry up to a summit. I don't mind doing anything else with it.
Drill some holes in it, buddy.
Drill some holes. That's what they were saying. I forgot who said it. Someone in the chat said your pack looks too heavy. Go ahead and drill some holes in it. Plasma earlier said, when are you going to get that antenna built? Before they decommission the ISS in 2031?
You don't have your ISS contact yet?
No, but I love the dig
Son.
space and antennas I have. Wait, I'm getting lumped with Jason here. I'm building this next week.
There
It
you
cannot
go.
happen. Cannot happen to be in the same.
While you're
boat
at
as
it, build
Jason.
an egg beater.
That'd be fun.
An egg beater antenna.
That'd be
So
fun.
there was a question in there a little while back. Sorry, I forgot about it, but asking what I was drinking here. It's a Coronado Brewing. It's milk stout brewed with chicory, bird rock coffee, and lactose. And if you listen to Josh's podcast, I got a couple of these up to him and Leia, and they were enjoying one of those during the podcast.
I
week.
just started
Excellent.
that on the drive back. I'm hoping I did send him an email. It was a kind of a short email, but I will see if it gets read this go around.
Nice.
And I'm planning on sending Josh something else, and I just need to get it done. But yeah, I'm gonna send Josh some things. I could be cheap and just send. It's like, here you go, but I want to send it to the mail. But that's gonna be fun once.
Or
that
take it to
he gets
Hamcation.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I could
There you
take it to
go.
Hamcation and just hand it to him. But what's the fun?
There you go.
I want to come through the mail, and I
Well, you
want to
can
hear
drink
his
it with you.
reaction. So that's just going to be amazing. Richard, he wants an arrow. The arrows work great. We used it at field day, and there's going to be a little clip of my field day video coming up probably later in February here. And we can hear, and I can get the satellite to, I'm able to hear the satellite quite fine. The issue is getting people to answer back to me. I'm not going to spoil what happened.
Okay, I'll shut up then.
Yeah, I saw that coming. But it's going to be in my video. But I have
Nice.
yet to make a true contact. But I'm making steps. I'm so looking forward to that contact. And I have to, like me, why did I choose the hardest thing to do in amateur radio as my
It's
first
not the
go-around?
hardest. You make it hard, buddy.
I don't
Come on
make it
now.
hard.
You do.
How,
Take that thing off a tripod.
Well, then you got to do this and flip and thumb at
Yes!
the radio at the same time.
Hands on. Ham harder. Ham harder, Frank.
Oh man,
Build them up.
build them up. Ugh. Tanks, guns, cannons.
Oh man.
Jason's like, I'm not letting that on my stream coming up. Well,
James says make an egg beater out of 12 gauge solid copper wire. I agree. That would be a great antenna.
I thought that was going somewhere else with 12 gauge after this
No,
weekend,
no.
last weekend.
I'm keeping us centered on the topic of radio.
Thank you.
Not what we typically do on the Ham Radio Clubhouse, but you know.
Yes. All right. Well, it's starting to come up to the top of the hour, so I am going to say we are going to go with Shane.
Why do I always go first?
Because I want the guest to have the last word, you know?
Well, Adam's the guest. I'm here every week. Come on now.
Well, the last word, so that means you go first. You're full screen. What do you got going on? What's going on in your world?
Well, thank you, Frank, for having me. And join us every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central Time for the Ham Radio Clubhouse. We've had a fantastic time. Jason really launched us into the stratosphere, getting the channel above 1,000 subscribers. I think we're almost at 1,300 now, so that's fantastic. We got a giveaway coming. There's going to be some announcements this week and next week, and then we're going to have some official openings coming up for when you can submit your entry for that. On my channel, which is this side of the radio, which is behind me here, just posted a video about Winter Field Day. So if you'd like to see what Winter Field Day looked like in Texas from my perspective, it is there as well. I've got a FRS radio review coming up. I'm filming it right now. And it's got something that most FRS radios don't have. And you'll have to check out the video for that. But other than that, that's all I've got, Frank.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. While I transition screens over here, Adam, what do you got going on? Where can we find your awesome antennas, and what else do you have just coming down the pipe you want to share?
Yeah, so the main thing I would say is for antennas, check out K6ARK.com. The best place to get notified when I've got new stuff posted is probably to follow me on Twitter. I don't even remember my dang Twitter handle, but I think if you search K6ARK, you'll probably find me there. The heck am I on Twitter?
It's your name. I actually had to
It's your name, buddy.
Dig to it. Yeah.
All right.
It's like
we'll figure it out here. I'm a mess. I got mountain rescue training next weekend, and we have a recertification coming up in early March. So that's where a lot of my focus is right now. It's a technical rope rescue thing, and I do a lot of the teaching and leading for the team on that. So hopefully after that, I will have a little more time to get back to making some videos about some cool radios that I've been playing with. There's a radio called an FX4C, BG2FX.com. You can find a little bit more info there. Pretty cool radio, tiny little thing. Does sideband CW and makes it very easy to operate digital modes. It's got a few quirks, but all in all, it's a very functional radio and a lot of fun to play with. So yeah, I do want to get a video out on that somewhere here in the near future. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
awesome. Well, thank you all both for joining. It's full screen time for me. Tank Radio. I scared y'all. I bet I did. Announcing we have the Challenge Coins pre-sale going on right now over on GrapevineHamRadio.com, along with some awesome other merch from all these other amazing YouTubers and my amazing t-shirt over there also. We had Buy Me the Coffee going on tonight. Thank you to both. Oh, where did that tab go? Oh, too many things open. Both to Skeeter and Lance Hopper. Thank you much for the coffee that you bought me, and I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Also to all my patrons out there, I appreciate y'all. And I think that's all I got. I'm probably forgetting something. I'll say it on the next stream. Everyone out there, thank you for joining, and be safe.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you to all my Patreon supporters. You can support me on Patreon. There's a link in the description below. And to all my tankers out there, go forth and conquer.